Hey, everybody. Good evening. Pray all is well with you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Come on in. Let's go. Come on in. I pray all is well with you. That y'all are doing okay. That you're being blessed. And all is well with you. I hope everything is jolly. I'm excited to be before you. Come on in. Please say hello. I had some complications getting on tonight, so y'all pray for me. But I hope that everyone's doing well. I hope everybody's doing all right. So, hey, good evening, good evening. Come on in. I'm just tightening up some things as we go into tonight's show. I pray all is well with everyone. Welcome to first time in a long time, Love Works. My name is Ricardo Arce. This is I'll say a podcast, a video cast, whatever you want to type of cast you want to call it. It is to help people in relationships, from families to romantic to co-workers, you name it, all types of relationships we deal with. This is Love Works. And I welcome you and thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know a lot of you are very busy in this time, but I hope you just take time out to take a couple of minutes out of your night to join me on tonight. So if you're on with me tonight, please make yourself known. I would love to hear that you're here on with me. Let me know that you're there. Say hello. Just say something. Do me that favor. And as you're doing that, I'm just tightening up some things. So y'all just bear with me here. When you haven't done something like this in a while, you forget a little the nuances that you have to do. So y'all just help me out here. All right. Just help me out. So I am really, really, truly blessed that you guys are joining me tonight. It is a topic that I wanted to tackle tonight. Hey, Miss Janine, I will invite you in again. I'm gonna have Miss Janine jump on with me tonight. Miss Felicia, you're on. And tonight's topic, we're dealing with something that is unfortunately in our culture. Within our culture, we're dealing with some crazy stuff. And one of the things I wanted to touch on tonight, the husband or the resources. I mentioned on my Facebook, it was yesterday I posted this, and just random thought, but I thought it would be a topic that I think we can touch on tonight. And after I saw the response, and it says, unfortunately, I'm finding more women are not interested in a husband. They're more interested in resources. And last night, I jumped on, and Miss Mack was on with me. And she's on tonight, and thank God for her. And I asked one of my really cool friends and co-hosts of another podcast that we do. It is called Ships, and Miss Janine's going to be joining me tonight. So as we get into this, just let's get ready. Let's open up our minds to really dive into this thought. husbands or resources. I'm not sure what a lot of women are thinking nowadays, but I'm hoping that we can tackle this topic. This is Love Works. Let's go. So, welcome to Love Works. This is a podcast slash show slash uh, relationship show, if you want to call it that. We are diving into this particular topic tonight. As I mentioned, I'm going to be bringing my co-guest in. We're going to tackle this, and it is husband or resources. Husband or resources. This is a modern question now that has been posted amongst a lot of brothers I know. They are upset. They're not knowing what to do because they don't know if the woman is there for them or the resources. We don't know, and we're going to dive into it. I'm going to make sure that I invite Miss Janine. Miss Janine, I'm sorry. I'm sending you that invite again, but I'm inviting her in, and she's going to jump in a second. And if you're joining me tonight, please say hi. All of you, please jump in and say hi. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. I see you. So just waiting for people to trickle in so we can really dive into this because I want to make sure this is live. So this is not recorded. This is all live. So I want to make sure many people get in on the different channels and so forth. So if you're on YouTube, you can catch us there. If you're on Facebook, catch us there. Twitter, Twitch, forgive me, TikTok, y'all know, come on. So y'all just dive in, ask the question. IG, I'm not on there tonight. So yeah, let's dive into this. So as Miss Janine trickles in with us, Miss Janine, I'm sending you an email so you can dive in. I don't know, whichever is convenient for you. I posted this yesterday. It would there are a lot of comments, a lot, and as we started talking about it, I started seeing the comments. The comments got really interesting, and they weren't bad. They were just people trying to understand, why is it happening? Why is this going on? What's the hang up? Why are so many, and not just women, men too. But because I touched on the women chimed in, and as we move, I want to talk about these particular comments. And there are a couple of them. And before we seriously dive into the conversation, but I think it's good notes that we could chime in on these particular comments. Pastor Daphne Smith, husband mean commitments. Men are are being taught the same thing too. Wives mean commitment. And the fact of the matter is that, yeah, I agree with her. She's been pastoring a minute. She's been married a long time, and she knows. And that's what it means. Husbands means commitment. Wives mean commitment. And unfortunately, she's saying that men are being taught that too, that women are for resources, more than sex. I'll put it that way. And by the way, y'all know me. I pull no punches on this topic or any topic. We go in. I'm not trying to sin or anything like that, but I am going to keep it quote unquote real. All right. So if you're on with me, please say hello, join me, and join this conversation. Please share this if you don't mind on your page so I can have other people chime in, men and women and so forth. I'm going to bring my co-guest on tonight because I begged her to stop, and I'm paying her big money to be on. Big money. This is my friend, my homie. If you don't know this woman's testimony, and listen, I know I've been saying it, but I really want to get her on, her and her husband on. We had her once before, but really get into the niche on how her and her husband met. I promise you, it's a testimony and a half. It's powerful. You're gonna love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Janine. Hi, Miss Janine.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much. Listen, I know you had a busy weekend. You just became a new godmother. Uh, you and my boy Gary,
Yes.
they became godparents, and they had a wonderful ceremony on Sunday. And I asked her at the last minute to jump on this particular topic because I thought it was going to be fun. It was going to be fun. And Mr. D, even on other podcasts, we dove into this topic slightly, but we don't
Yeah.
get into it. How now we see a lot of women that are looking for resources versus husbands. And if you don't know, that's our topic tonight: resources versus husbands. Did amongst your friends, single friends,
Yes.
are you finding this? Is this something that is going on? Even I'll say this: we're in the Gen X age.
Right.
Do you find that more people, more women, are looking for resources versus a husband?
Absolutely not.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
not.
Thank you. That's our show for tonight. So what are they looking for?
The friends in my circle, and I can't speak for Gen X, but I'm Gen X. So the friends in my circle
Yeah.
are saved, educated, they have careers, they have assets, they have homes or condos, they have all those things.
Okay.
They are looking for companionship. They are looking for love. They are looking for a partner to continue to grow with.
So within your circle, now, and to be fair, the age, what does that age look like?
It is 25 to 55
25 to 55
of
are
my
looking for
friends.
are your
Yeah.
friends, and they're looking for partners. They're not looking for a hookup. They're not looking because they saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost.
And some of them aren't. And those that aren't are still looking for a partner, a companion. So let me say this. Um, there are obviously two sides to this, right? There are
Okay.
those that you say are looking for resources, right? There are also those that are presenting themselves as the resource center. So we have
Okay.
to
So
take
they're presenting
ownership.
themselves as the resource center by default.
I know that had to sink in a bit. They're presenting themselves as the resource center,
So the
meaning
men are looking for
I have
them.
and so the men are present. And again, when I say the men, obviously it's not all men,
Sure, sure.
right? But
Yeah.
we all have to take responsibility for our part in where we are now, right? So if a man or men say that women are just looking for resources, well, talk to the brothers that are approaching them with those one liners. Baby, I could get your nails done. Baby, I could get your hair done. Baby, I could. Baby, I could. I could do this. I could do that. Right? So then it becomes this barter system. You're
Sure.
not looking for love, companionship, partnership, somebody to help to iron your cape every day and tell you that you're Superman and remind you can fly. You're looking for the cookie. So if all you want is the cookie and I'm looking for love, you're not offering that, then my next thing is, well, let me find some resources.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So now, since in your group, I'll say this, and from my perspective with the men, they're saying the opposite with a lot of women, even with quote unquote Christian women, that they're saying that they just want them for their money, that all they want is to take from them their resources and what they've earned and what they built up. So these particular quote unquote women that come in.
Mhm.
Now, my question is, Um, are these are these women are these women uh is this a staple? Is this what the template is in our culture or within the body of Christ? I'll even ask that. Meaning the women, are they pretty much this way? Or it's just amongst are you amongst unicorns? Let's put it that way.
I'm definitely not amongst unicorns. There's a cause and effect here that we
Okay.
have to address,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it's a cycle. It's like the catch 22. It's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Why why are women looking for resources? If we are, if the majority of us are looking for resources, why are we looking for resources? Could it be that we were looking for love and getting played?
Okay. Now let's push back on that. What if the other way around? Because you said the chicken and the egg.
Right.
Now,
All right.
usually how it happens, guy falls in love, he gets hurt by the girl, and he becomes a dog.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. And we touched on it on ships.
Yeah.
This is what happens when a woman is in a relationship or trying to get in a relationship and she has her heart broken, ripped out of her chest, run over, thrown against the wall, all of that is shattered in pieces. She would call her girlfriends to the rescue.
Right.
We bring wine, ice cream, carbs, however you get down. We sit around, we talk about it. We may, some of us, go a little more aggressive route and may set some stuff on fire. But whatever. We get together, we talk about it. We help each other through that
Right.
so we can move on. Because we understand that rejection is a part of life.
Wait a minute.
Hey, you asked me. You shouldn't have
No,
invited me on.
no.
You shouldn't have invited me on. We understand that rejection is a part of life, right? And that we have to move on. A man is in a relationship, gets his heart ripped out, stomped on, thrown up against the wall. He doesn't call anybody. He just decides that if he can't have her, no one can, and he shoots her on his parents' lawn.
No, no.
You don't handle rejection. No, unfortunately, that is a real story. Listen, unfortunately, that is a real story.
But that's not the norm.
When you all men deal with rejection, the way that you deal with rejection is it's like you shut down.
Yeah, and the reason
you don't keep going, and then everyone pays for what Sheila did.
But the reason why, because the fact is, when it comes down for men, when they deal with the rejection, she comes in and takes his resources. And just FYI, sidebar, but important. In this country, a man will sit there, build up his stuff. He marries somebody. And I've seen this has been typical. He marries someone. I want a divorce, she says. Because keep in mind, 80% of women file for divorce. That's statistics. That's not me. Don't come beat me up. Don't go buy mom.
And I have a reason for that too.
Okay. So she sits there. She says she's not happy to leave. She takes half of that stuff. All the stuff that even before she came into marriage accumulated. After 10 years, you pretty much have access to that particular stuff. You have access to it. So yeah, that's one of the key things that what men go through, that when it comes down to their assets, their resources, the woman, he has to be skeptical about who the next person is, because she may come in and do the same thing. And it's happened. But you said you have a reason why women do file for divorce.
Wait a minute. I need to play my tiny violin. Wait, I'm getting to the good part.
Lord, here we go. Look, do you guys agree with Janine? Comment if you agree with Janine or not. Go ahead.
So look, like I said, there's always multiple sides to this, and it's this ugly, vicious cycle that we're caught up in.
Yes.
Okay. Now, If we're going to talk about the man who marries this woman, he has all these assets and resources.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
doesn't work out, she takes half. Let's talk about your ability to pick a sane, productive woman in the first place. I
Wait,
have seen.
no, you can ask again.
No. Wait, no, you shouldn't have invited me on.
Yes, ma'am.
I tell the truth, shame the devil. I have watched men skip over great women
Yes.
who don't, because you're visual, who
Yeah.
don't look like such and such.
Right.
Now, when you go after such and such, because she's so fine, she hasn't had to develop character. She can just be fine. And all of you chase after her, expecting the inside to be as beautiful as the outside. And you don't take time to find out if there's anything on the inside. And then when you unwrap the package and it's empty,
So you're saying
then
that,
you're
okay,
surprised
so
that.
she had no character from the get-go is what you're saying.
Now, of course, this doesn't apply to everyone,
I agree with you, and that's
right?
what
But let's just take a moment. And I know you know some men who, friend, whatever, they see this woman. They don't know if she has a record or not. Her picture could be up at the post office. They don't care. They're visual. They see the package. There's no substance. They still want to put on a ring on no substance and expecting substance to all of a sudden have substance.
oh Lord.
But let me backtrack. I know that there are women who look at men as resources. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. And I I lived my life in a way that reflects that I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was settled. I had an apartment, but I live in California. And to say you have a house, you need to be a cajillionaire. But I was stable, had my car, really nice place in a nice area,
You were independent.
right? Had my 401k, all that kind of stuff, looking for love, looking for someone to be my covering, looking for someone to submit to, looking for somebody's dirty drawers to wash. I was like ready.
Dirty?
Dirty drawers. You don't wash clean ones. You don't wash clean ones,
Yo, okay.
right?
All
I
right.
was not looking for resources. I don't want to be owned or bought. And I feel that if you're doing the hair, the nails, you buying the clothes, you're doing all that kind of stuff, that doesn't have anything to do with my heart, my core.
Right.
So I was never looking for resources.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I have the one and only Miss Janine on with me. Tonight's topic is the husband or the resources. I posted something particularly yesterday, and a lot of people responded to it, and I wanted to get everyone's input tonight as we have this discussion. So this is what I posted. Unfortunately, I'm finding more women are not interested in a husband. They're more interested in resources. And people chimed in and so forth. I had a conversation even the night before Saturday with it was with Miss Mack. Miss Mack, if you're still on, I know you had a lot to say, and she commented a lot, even in the feed that I had. So I took the liberty just to jot down a couple of things about this topic. And Miss Joanne Murray, she said that's the new generation, 35 and under club. No morals, no values, no elders, no substance. That's what she said. Now, Janine, I don't know if it's true or not.
I can vibe with that to a point. We
Okay.
can't leave the new generation out to dry because they exist because we do.
That was my point earlier.
Right? So
Yeah.
whatever they're doing, right or wrong,
Absolutely.
we have to look in the mirror and say, what did we model before them? What did we whisper in their ear
Right.
for them to be the way that they are. Now, this is kind of just out there, but I do believe it applies. Okay. So I remember when I found out that Halle Berry had been cheated on, supposedly like the most beautiful woman in the world, right? And then was it Jermaine Dupri who cheated on Janet Jackson? Right? These women considered like the most beautiful women in the world, regardless of what your taste is, beautiful.
Yes.
If no one wants to be faithful to Janet and Halle, what hope do the rest of us have for the husband, the partner? So if love is not on the table and a faithful, loyal relationship is not an option, then why shouldn't I look for resources?
But see, that's the thing.
I'm not saying that is right, but I'm saying, in all fairness, if that is what we are looking for, and we see that you all are visual creatures, but even in that, you get supposedly the most beautiful ones and still cheat on them. And the rest of us know we're not Janet or Halle. You might as well don't even
Look.
I mean, but how can you continue to look for love and look for a partner? You then look for what you can get. You go after the low-hanging fruit. That was like, okay, I know what you want, bruh. You want the cookie? I want resources. I'm not even going to ask for love because you're not going to be faithful anyway. So let's skip that. You want the cookie? The cookie costs.
So no
And these
ringing,
are
no
resources that will give you will help you get to the cookie.
So no ringing, no thingy is what you just said. Okay. So that,
It's a mess though. It's a hot, frothy mess. It's a cycle. What we need to see is more of these good guys that seem to be unicorns. Good guys, if you can hear me, good guys, listen up. If you can hear me, you're letting the dogs take over. It's your fathers, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers. Good guys, stand up. Stand up. Let us see where you are. Stop letting the whack ones get all the attention.
I'll say this, and in fact, someone made a comment about the generational thing. I'm a firm believer that when it comes down to a Gen X, around the 90s, late 80s, 90s, the mothers really instilled in their daughters, go to school, get an education, and set yourself up. Because, and ladies, let me give you the history and the pattern on this for everyone. The 70s, the fathers, if you look closely, we saw good times. We grew up on good times, and we saw James being faithful, not educated, but that man had always tried to have a job. He sits there and gets killed. And we're like, where's my daddy? Those with no daddies in the ghetto, we look for James Evans as our daddy. He dies. Now it gets set up to where, honestly, where the husband or the boyfriend, whoever, wasn't in the home anymore. For obvious reasons, pretty much it is a truth about pretty much how the government set it up. It is true.
Absolutely.
That pretty much the woman had to choose between her children being fed or this man being in the house. So she had to take the handout. So that's how it was. Right. It didn't mean some didn't want it because they wanted the man more, but you have to think about your babies. So that was the tear there. Mm-hmm. You move into the 80s. These same women are raising these kids by themselves. Yes. Husband, drugs, alcohol, the whole 9 yards. That was the pattern. They pretty much baby the girls. Go get an education. Go make something of yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't be like me. Or if you remember, y'all were latchkey kids. Talk to me. The latchkey kid went through that whole system and so forth. And I was there myself. And what happens is the ladies start outranking the men in school. They got educated and so forth. They started becoming CEO. They started doing the thing. So now the man literally became obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
He became obsolete. He was not in the picture anymore. So now the woman says, okay, well, I got the house. You mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
I got the car. I got the brains. I got the job. I don't need a man for anything. And it was the thing for a moment there was like, all I need is a child from him. You can do what you want. I'll raise the child. And that's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So now you start reversing the thing where women, of course, they come into their own in their
Right.
40s and 50s. And they're looking now because they've achieved, they're looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not finding and honestly, the 40s and the 50s and the 60-year-old men. First of all, some of them are dying off because they're dying alone. Number one. Number two, because
Right.
married men live longer. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you see that him, he doesn't want to get married. And I have a slew of men. And somebody, in fact, one of my sisters talked about pretty much she may be looking for somebody her age or maybe a little older. She gets nothing but younger men coming after her. Nothing but younger men are coming at her and just
Let
pretty
me
much,
do a public service announcement for younger men.
uh-oh.
Get one, ladies. Get one. Okay. We're
She's
back.
speaking from experience, y'all. I promise
Okay.
you I'm gonna have to Jenny, we're gonna set it up. I promise you. They have a powerful testimony, her and her husband. Her husband is 12 years younger. She is a mature woman. Let's put it that way. I'm being nice to me. Mature. My
Anyway.
boy just turned 40. And
Anyway.
right, sweet guy. But this is the kicker. He was a virgin when she met him. Now I'm gonna let that hang right there. I'm not gonna talk no more about it.
Yeah, just let it marinate.
I'm gonna let that marinate because the reason
Hopefully.
why I'm not saying she was at the schoolyard looking over the fence in the high school. I'm not saying that.
Gary was legal when we got married. That's all that matters.
So she says. I'm gonna leave it there.
So all that matters.
When we had this conversation, you're gonna know the truth. I'm gonna bring it out. I promise you.
Anyway.
But in that note, what happens that you see this progression of now men are introverts. They don't like asking women pretty much for the numbers.
Well, let me say this, and this may be a topic for another night,
Yes,
but all of you are not introverts because several of you have figured out how to ask white women out. Yeah, I said it. You should have asked me to come on. I said it.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
Maybe
Ain't
that's
nothing wrong with a snow bunny. I know plenty of men. Look, let me put it out there. I have some cousins. And I'll be honest with you. My culture is a little different. Cuban's a little different. Someone said, ouch. Don't play. Stop. I have two cousins. Dark men together, got their heads on straight. And they're married. My cousins-in-law, absolutely wonderful women. They're married white women. I mean, you look up in the dictionary, you see them. White to the women. You can't get no whiter than them. Blonde hair, the whole 9 yards. So my point with it, which we'll dive into that. We'll definitely pretty much find out why people change their zip code. But what I've noticed is that many men do go that way. In fact, statistics say 24% of Black men will date outside of their race, but only 12% of Black women date outside of their race.
The number's increasing though. Because there are literally slim pickings for us. Because we see so many brothers going with everything but where they came from.
Well, yeah.
Now, does that mean I watch my clock just fizzle out, waiting the off chance that a brother looks in my direction, or do I cast a wider net, as you have, looking for love?
Yeah.
There's, you know what? There are so many things that have impacted our community
Yes, ma'am.
and our relationships, our family relationships, our intimate relationships. It's almost like the most amazing couple is a Black couple. And so there are all these things that come against.
Right.
It's like all this kryptonite out here because we can't be
No,
together.
no, right, right, right.
You know, I don't even know how we fix it, but I do know that it requires us, men and women, to step outside of our comfort zones, be willing to stop carrying all that baggage around, right? And let's say you have a 7-piece set of luggage that you are dragging around. Don't have to get rid of all of it. Keep the overnight bag. Get the 7 pieces down to the overnight bag. I promise you it'll be lighter and it'll be easier for you to engage. But we have to be willing to speak the truth in love to each other. We have to be willing to say things like, bruh, I'm here. I'm a good woman. I love the Lord. I do this, this, and this. I want to submit. I want to blah, 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 blah. Why am I invisible? Right? We also need to be able to say, okay, in my past relationships, I've tried to emasculate every brother I've ever come across because I've been on my own so long, I can't hear or see anything else. It's
Sure.
me. You're going to do what I say, and you're going to be my resource center, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
On the other side, we have to acknowledge the fact that we got hurt in the 7th grade by Taisha, and ever since then we've been out to destroy every single woman that ever we ever come across. We will never love again, and we're going to get what we can because no woman can be trusted.
What's her name?
Taisha.
She wanted to respond to what you said about the wider net, to what I did. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on tonight, and our topic is the husband or the resources. This is a topic that really a lot of folks pretty much believe that women are going after resources versus a husband. It's either going to be one or the other. I don't know why it can't be both, but that's a whole nother topic, I guess, because I think they can be both. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because the fact of the matter is that women do marry for security. They're what are you going to do for a living? In fact, I'll speak for myself. When I got married, my wife was pushing me to have a better career because she was making more money than me. So, okay, well, I was motivated. I'm going to go get this. I'm going to do this and get this education and so forth, and went out and did it. And here I am, 25, almost 24 years at the same job that I pretty much had working in IT. And thank God, for the my career. But that was a motivation for me.
Right.
That, and I don't think I don't think that's emphasized enough, that why women are pushed. It may sound like they're nagging, and I know some men will say that. It's not nagging. They just want you to do better. In fact, the scripture talks about that. Let me get preachy, but it talks about pretty much you going after the vain things in life to help the wife, to please the wife. And there's nothing wrong with that, because God understands pretty much your duty. So I'm on with Miss Janine tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know her, she has been joining me for the last 45 minutes on the topic, the husbands or the resources. And I thank God that she joined us tonight. She's been giving me a wealth of knowledge and beating me up. And,
no, I'm not beating you up, but I do want to go.
Wait.
Okay.
You're beating me up. Go ahead.
Anyway, I love how you set up like what was happening in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go back even further.
Okay.
There was a time where we weren't even women. We were girls, young ladies, getting married off 13, 14, 15, 16, right? We lived with our parents on the farm.
Okay.
And we were married off to the boy that lived on the next farm.
That's right. For 2 cows and a goat. Go ahead.
Right, right. So we left our parents' house.
Yes, ma'am.
And we moved in with this boy.
Mm-hmm.
And started family. We're playing house. We're doing all those kinds of things.
Yes, ma'am.
So there was no time to grow into myself, to figure out who I am and what I want and what my calling is and what I'm passionate about. I never had to juggle rent or mortgage and car note and pay off student loans,
Absolutely.
right? I wasn't doing any of that. I moved from one house to the next. And we just went with it. And I didn't have the options to leave Jethro when he drank too much and beat on me and did any of those other kinds of things. You got married and you stayed. It was till death do you part.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So now you get to a time where we marry much later, 30, 40, 50s. Right? So that means we've had time to go to school, start a business,
right,
get degrees, plural, the house, the mortgage, the car. We've had time to fully develop and build. So now when we go out looking for relationships,
right,
either we're not looking for resources, we're looking for a partner because we've been our own source.
Sure, right, absolutely.
Right?
Right.
We're looking for a partner to build with, or we're tired. We're tired of doing all that.
Of doing all of that, what you've been doing.
Right.
Okay.
And doing all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, as you said, I agree. I don't think there's anything wrong for looking for a husband and resources. When I was looking, it really was love, partner, companionship. Let's build together. I was never looking at whoever this was going to be as, whew, I don't have to do anything.
Okay.
Never looked at it that way. So I know that some do. And those that are willing, men who are willing to be the resource, need to find those who are looking for a resource. But I know women can be ratchet. I know we can be a hot, frothy mess. I am not going to pretend that we are completely innocent in this foolishness. Not even going to pretend. Not going to do that. I've seen far too many friends be pregnant by the same dude. You know, so I've seen some crazy stuff, right? We know sometimes that there's some situations. Somebody has a couple of kids. Every kid has their own daddy. Nobody has their own bedroom. We got our priorities mixed up. I know we can be like that. But men, please don't pretend that you're innocent in all of this too. And oh my goodness, I don't understand why they just want me for my resources.
Oh my
gosh. I'm such a good guy. Golly gee, I just don't understand why they only want my resources.
So
we have to be willing to take responsibility for how we've helped orchestrate this hot mess together.
So with this, so you would say pretty much to fix it is to have a roundtable, continue, because all over the internet, everyone's having pretty much these Zooms, these meetings about over and over again, the same topic, they're wearing it out. And I get tired of hearing it. But at the same time, there has to be a resolution. and I want to jump to something interesting because Miss Natasha, but we've known my wife and I had known her for years, and she put it on my Facebook page, and it was very interesting. She was intrigued by this particular comment.
She
And,
responded to your post.
responded
That
to my
you mean
post.
that terrible post that started all of this? That
Oh,
one?
Lord and Lord. But
That one.
said,
Okay. Yeah, that
she
one.
said that if a woman like myself has her resources, like you mentioned, where men pretty much, then where are the men that are interested for marriage or interested in marrying her? She says, I don't even meet anyone. Maybe it's just because I'm around all the kids. She has a daycare. My girl's, she's a hustler. She has a daughter. Pretty much, I remember her daughter going to some prestigious school. I think it was Howard. I think. But anyway, very smart woman. Business. She's been running her business for years, and she would say she would go. Went to a a pretty much a. I want to say a choreography. What is it called?
I still don't know what you're trying to say.
Nevertheless, she went to a particular night bar. No, let's say bar. It was a club, and it was
Okay.
karaoke. That's what I'm trying to say. I was trying to look for the word
Ooh, okay.
karaoke. Right. That's what I was messing up. But she went to the karaoke a bar and so forth a couple of months ago, and 3 different men approached her. All were younger than her, and pretty much looked perplexed because this woman, she tells her age. She says, "I'm 53." So she don't look her age, and she doesn't. She doesn't. She really doesn't. So she's not exaggerating there. So no progress. One guy managed to Facebook me recently and was again younger than me. Yes, because listen, this FYI, younger men look for resources and stability in older women. It's not just the sex.
Right.
I promise you, it's not just the sex. It's what you can do for them. And if you look like you got anything, they're gonna try to, finagle you out of it. So she said, no progress. One guy pretty much Facebooked her and so forth. And again, he was younger than me. He said he thought I was younger than him. So however how old he was. He never messaged her back. This is a real problem for me. I don't approach men. She said she's old school. So I can't even meet anyone. Listen, 54, 55, 56, 57, 60, because that age range never approaches me. But that is the age I want to start dating in. That's what age she's want pretty much to start dating. What do you suggest? I'm just going to throw because she has some more stuff here, but
Okay. So, ladies, I appreciate old school. I understand old school. I was a bit old school myself. If you see that old school is not working for you, you may need to step outside of your comfort zone. That could mean simply making eye contact, saying hello, giving a compliment. That is not emasculating the man in any way. That's not buying the ring and getting down on your knee and proposing to him. It's simply getting the conversation started.
But she said specifically in her post that 3 men approached her. One reached out to her on Facebook. He ghosted her in another words. I'll say it that way because for whatever reason,
Right.
Maybe he thought that she was younger, that she was younger than what she presented herself to be, which is not her fault. She,
Right.
gave her age.
I have seen more younger men
Yeah.
going after older women.
Right.
And it's like you said, far too many of us are out there looking for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Right? Or we're not always forthcoming with our real intentions.
True.
Whether it's you're looking just for cookie and no connection, you're looking for resources, whatever it is. We're out there in these streets, and those of us who are doing that are making it harder for those of us who are looking for something real and genuine.
That's fair. And I think, with that, I don't think that there's personally, um, unfortunately, Natasha, young men are gonna continue to come at you because they think you're a certain age. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the quality of the man that comes after you. That's really what it is. And thank God you old school. I just say, as Natasha, and this is for everybody, all the ladies who make
Yeah.
yourself pretty much available. That doesn't mean you pretty much go and chase them, but make yourself available.
Be
She went to
approachable.
there you go. Yeah.
You,
She
you
was
can
at a
still be
karaoke
old
bar.
school, but
Yeah.
be approachable.
Yeah. Don't ever frown. And obviously she didn't if she had 3 men approach her. And that's important to understand that to pretty much look like you're approachable. And
Mhm.
yeah, please do. Because even though the old
And
man.
look, some of us think we're approachable.
Were you approachable, Janine, when you were single?
No.
Why, Janine?
Well, here's why. I wasn't approachable. Now I'm gonna get into my childhood trauma. Here we go. I wasn't approachable because when I was little, I was the fat black girl, dark skinned girl, glasses like bus window panes, and acne. Wasn't nobody checking for that. So I'm like, okay, self love. That's what we need here. Self love. Oh, and don't even, you're not going to be a trophy wife or girlfriend or any of that. You better go to school so you can feed yourself and have a place to live, right? So, because of how I was treated when I grew up, I just expected that no one was looking because no one ever was. And moving to a big city like LA, living in different parts of LA, I said, well, okay, to protect myself, um, I'm not going to be walking around and smiling and batting my eyes and doing all that kind of stuff. I want to give off a vibe that says, don't you try it. And if you do, it's going to be a fight to the death. It's really not worth it. No, find somebody else.
Right. No, that's fair. And I
Right.
mean, but
And I think you might remember the story I told on Ships. I had to work in mid Wilshire. I lived in Inglewood,
right.
Crenshaw, 108th and Ardath, way over down in there.
There were no Jewish men looking at you, is what you're saying.
Anyway, I took the bus. I think it was the 310, the 210, whatever. I was coming home on a Friday night because I always had to stay late. And I had gotten to the point where I was pretty good at discerning the drunk guys that you have to talk to and the ones that you should ignore. Because there's two kinds. You got to know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Right? If you engage the one that you should ignore, big trouble. So I thought I was pretty good at that. So this was one I said, okay, I need to engage or he's going to get really crazy. I did. And as we got closer to my stop, his whole demeanor changed and he like proposed to me on the bus. And I was like, okay, this is really wonky. Got to shut this down and get off. So I was like, no, and he was reaching for me. He grabbed me. There were black men on the bus. There was a black male driver. No one helped me.
Wow.
No one helped me. What hurt the most is not the drunk man. It's the fact that no brothers stood up for me. This isn't even like dating, are you interested or anything, but I carried that with me.
Sure.
So not only do you not want to date me, you let this drunk ass man do whatever to me because you just don't care.
Right. I got you.
No, you asked me, was I open? No, what, be open to that?
Right. So you had to pretty much change your demeanor in order. Yeah, that makes
Right.
sense.
Now,
I find that particular topic come up, or that particular statement come up a lot in a lot of women. It's like they don't want to look approachable.
Now, when God introduced Gary to me as a possibility.
Right.
I remember him working on me, and I had done some work to get to the point where I was approachable.
Sure.
But God did more work, and he basically said to me, still too much. It's too much going on here. If I present my son now and open his eyes to you, you will destroy him.
Okay.
And I'm not going to let you do that.
Sure.
So he didn't say you need to change. But in order for you to fit with this king that I have for you,
Sure.
there's some additional work that you're going to need to do in order to receive him.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, I went off on a tangent, but was I approachable? No, and that's why from some of that. And I didn't even get into all of it, but there were other things like that.
Okay. And that's, and that's fair because, and it's funny because a lot of men will say to a lot of women, you need to smile and so forth. Well, it depends who you are. Maybe I'll smile.
Right.
Yeah, depending.
And they would say that to me, and I would say, bruh, so check this out. Didn't get up this morning with the sole intention of meeting you at this time and place to smile for you. If you need a smile, then you need a mirror.
Oh, wow.
Smile at yourself.
Wow. I see why, men didn't approach you. I understand
But that was the same woman who was attacked on the bus and nobody helped her. That's the one who would be carrying 15 boxes of stuff and no one would open the door or even hold it open once they went through.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So when you live like that, then your guard goes up and all of that. But I didn't give up.
And look at you now. How many years you've been married now?
It'll be 13 in August.
13. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Ricardo Arce. This is Love Works, and our topic tonight is the husband or the resources. I'm on with Miss Janine. If you don't know her, you need to know her. And thank God, that she's joining us tonight. I begged her.
Yes,
I'm paying her good money to be on tonight. Good money. So she pretty much has been dropping dimes on us tonight. I personally, as I went into counseling or talk, I their plight on meeting the right woman and so forth. I understand why, and I think personally, it's more, a generational individual thing. And I think that's what the issue is, in my opinion, when it comes down for men being available for other women or for women to come into their lives who are looking for a husband versus looking for the resources. But again, as I mentioned, I believe that they go hand in hand. I believe you want a good character man, ladies, along with the resources. I don't think anything's wrong with that. But what I'm hearing is that they're picking that over the husband. That's what I'm hearing more and more. That is what they got. So you hear the term, and help me out, ladies. Men will ask a woman, "What are you bringing to the table?" And that particular topic sets a lot of women on fire. I don't know if you concur with that, Ms. Janine, but or even pretty much people are watching. Please chime in if you don't mind answering the question, "What do you bring to the table?" If that's something that you
an important question to ask.
Okay, so
you should be asking, what are you bringing to the table? What do you do? What is the call on your life?
Janine, I differ with that because I think it's tacky for a man to ask a woman, what is she bringing to the relationship? That's really what you're saying. And in my opinion, I think that comes out in time as you're meeting someone, as you're getting to know them, versus because that's like speed dating. Second or third date,
right.
What are you bringing to the table? I don't think you should even ask that. It'll come out.
When I say ask, it doesn't necessarily have to be literally, what are you bringing to the table?
So it should be alluded to?
alluded to, and at some point, if you feel comfortable straight out asking that, but when two people come together,
Yes, ma'am.
it is like consolidating two businesses into one.
Okay.
Mexican restaurant, Italian restaurant, right? We
Right.
can't keep two separate menus. We have to figure out what stays, what goes, what's going to be on the new Italian Mexican fusion menu,
Yeah.
right? And then we have to have conversation about, okay, how many tomatoes do we need to order? Because I'm doing mine for salsa, you're doing yours for marinara,
Now I know you're using an analogy, pretty much business.
right? But
Is
the
it fair to
relationship,
say? Go ahead. Go ahead.
is like a business contract.
Okay.
The man, the woman, God, business contract. And I think it's fair to talk about what you're bringing to the table. And one may be bringing more resources,
Right.
and one may be bringing more of what it takes to set up the infrastructure of the
Sure.
home and the
Sure.
family.
And I think honestly, I think that's how a man pretty much bringing the resources. The woman, she knows how to organize it. That's how it worked in my relationship. That pretty much here are the resources. She takes it because let me tell you something. Any woman I've met, and I'll say wives, particularly a good wife, knows how to take nothing and multiply it.
Yeah.
It's a gift that God has given you. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
just how it happens. You get pretty much you bless her egg, she's gonna multiply it. You give her
Yep.
you give her pretty much some yeast, she's gonna make some bread. She's gonna feed, she just knows how to do it. You
Yeah.
know, bills them out in my house. You know, they get paid. I'm like, I don't know how you did that, but God bless you. I salute you. So you take care of the bills. I go make it. You go pretty much do A,
Mhm.
B, and C. And that's the balance there. I agree 100%.
Right.
I think, it's safe to say what type of assets you may bring to, and no play on words. Please don't take that wrong. Please do not take that wrong.
Okay, I will say it.
Please don't. Because I know my audience and don't do it. Because some people bring some big assets into the relationship. I'm leave that alone.
See,
So
don't be too visual.
I'm
Okay,
not
anyway.
gonna be right. Don't be too
Okay.
visual. So what happens is they come together and they bring these resources together and they build upon that. So
Yeah.
I think what we're missing now, I really believe this, is the character building in the man and the older women. When the scripture talks about the women, older women, pretty much mature women, teach the younger how to listen, not to become business women.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Titus 2.
It says how to
Yeah.
become a wife, how to pretty much be a good
Yeah.
wife, and that's what's missing. We don't have those mothers who are willing to that because now we got the mothers competing with the daughters for the same man, and they're meeting each other at the club. And that's a whole nother topic, but that's
But
what's going on.
okay. So now I feel that it's time to shout out Puffy and his son because they like to share the same. Well, I'm saying don't. It's not.
But
Well, okay.
that's what's going on. That's what's going on. So yeah, you do see that. But Janine, now, because our hour is gone, and I don't want to spend too long.
Is it?
It's gone. We got a couple more minutes, but if you're not joining us, we have been talking about the husband or the
Oh
resources.
wait, we need at least 12 more minutes because we didn't start at 6:30.
That's different. When I brought you on, it was like 12 minutes, but it's okay. No, we can. This is my show. We can go as long as we want. It's all
I
good.
thought so. I thought it
Yeah.
was your show.
But if you're joining us tonight, this is LoveWorks. My name is Ricardo Arce. I am on with Miss Janine. And Miss Janine, she has been informing us on how to catch a husband. That's what she said. She said how to get a younger man. That's what she said. So you need to pretty much put your resources on, or grab all these resources rather, and put them in your purse so you'll know how to pretty much how to catch a Gary. How to catch a Gary. Somebody said this. A lot of young girls don't listen because they listen more to what's happening in social media. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People are on trends. That there is some crazy, when I say some crazy stuff,
Oh
ma'am,
yeah.
I, but this is where they're getting it. So what we have, I believe, not
Mhm.
just you have the older teaching the younger a lot
Right.
of crazy stuff. They're teaching them this is this. They're teaching them the game versus how to be in a relationship.
Right.
Now that's not all, but that is the majority of what you
Yeah.
see on social media. And so the same with the men. The men pretty much, they're trying to hip or get the younger men to see the game or whatever,
Right.
or be above the game or not above it, how
Yeah.
to outplay them in the game. That's pretty much it. Instead of going for the high standards. So yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought up social media because as much as I enjoy it, it opens up so many rabbit holes
Yeah,
that you can just spiral
sure,
down into and get lost.
sure.
You start looking at it as the truth.
Yep.
And what we see is not always the truth.
Nope.
It is what is staged for the post,
Yep.
right?
Yes,
For
ma'am.
the gram,
Yep.
etc. And so instead of looking for substance, you end up looking for someone who looks good in a selfie
Yeah.
with you
Sure.
and what they can give you, what they can do for you, where they can take you, what you drink, top shelf. It just all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so much of that is not real. And if you keep following people, next month they'll be separated, divorced, no longer together.
Yep.
We're looking to all the wrong sources
Yeah. Yeah. No,
for who
absolutely.
we should be, how we should be, how we should date, what that should look like.
Sure. I
And
have
then, as you said, all the game playing and all of that, we're not teaching and showing young people
I
how to be in healthy, committed relationships,
yeah,
how to work through the hard stuff,
right.
how to keep God first. So if we're not mirroring that in front of them, it's definitely not really on social media, TV, or movies.
Well,
Then how are they going to learn it?
I think what happens is now within the culture, particularly amongst men, and I'll say this, please don't be offended by this, but this is the truth. White men have been doing something for years, and I'm gonna tell you what it is in a second. Black men are now catching up with it, and they're getting blasted out of the water. And I'm gonna bring up something that this man said. John Newsom, he says, open the border. We're talking about change your zip code. Those cultured women are truly taught early how to become a wife to embrace husbands with loyalty. And that's exactly, listen, what American men need and want. Family means everything. So I asked the question, do you think this is why the passport bros are so popular? And he answered 100%, because I've traveled the world and I know firsthand. Ladies and gentlemen, this here
Mhm.
is one of the main things within that's not just trending, but men are going out of the country. Black men are going out of the country to other cultures, literally other places. They're going down to the DR. They're going down to South America. Some are traveling to Africa. Some are traveling to wherever. Now, what we see on social media now, the uproar, that a lot of
Mhm.
black women pretty much are going in on them. And I've seen it
Yeah.
firsthand. Talk to one of them. And my point with it is that, and let me ask the question, is Ms. Janine, you can bring some understanding, and maybe someone out there can bring some understanding. Please chime in. I would love to hear you. Do you think that black women have caused this? I'm not saying it's true. I'm just putting it out there. Please don't beat me up. Cause men to say, bye, because y'all want the resource instead of the husband, I'm going out of state or I'm going out of the country. What are your thoughts on it? I want to hear.
I don't think it's because we want the resources solely, not a husband looking for resources.
Yeah,
I think if we go back, take that timeline you broke down and go back even further to
sure.
how the nucleus of our family
Yeah,
was broken
yeah,
on purpose,
yeah. It was
right?
on purpose.
We are
Absolutely.
right. We're living in the after effects
Yes, ma'am.
of that,
Yes, ma'am.
where we don't communicate, we can't communicate.
Yep.
We women are so angry and tired.
They're angry and tired because of what they're going through, or what is it?
All that we're going through. And a lot of that is because of the system stripping Black men from the families,
Okay.
whether we go all the way back to slavery
Sure.
and they were sold off,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Removed, pimped out, turned out, all that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Right? We look at institutionalized racism where in order to get government subsidized whatever,
Sure.
there could be no man in your home. And they would literally go to the home
Yeah.
and open cabinets to see if there was shaving cream, boxers in the drawers. They would do, there could not be a man there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you have generations of women having to deal with the man stripped from the home,
Yeah.
having to be mother and father, which is it's a whole nother topic.
Sure. Sure. No, you're right.
It's no wonder we are angry and tired,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
And then in the midst of being angry and tired, far too many of us are raising sons to continue to perpetuate
Yeah.
what has been going on.
Sure.
We are having whack relationships in front of our little Black boys.
Yeah.
So they have no idea how to treat us. We don't respect ourselves. Again, I'm not talking about all of us,
Right.
but we all know somebody who fits in this category.
Absolutely.
So if we're having crazy people, crazy relationships in front of our kids, especially our sons, how do they grow up and learn how to treat other Black women if mama basically took anything from anybody? And why would you want that? Right? There's so many layers to this.
That,
And I think,
that's
right, as a result of being so
yes, sir.
angry and tired and frustrated, bruh, you need a job. We can talk about what the man did and the man said and the man stopped you from doing and all of that, but you need a job. And no, I'm not interested in you if you are still at your mama's house.
Yeah.
You know that there's multiple there's other sides to this. So then, because we are looking for love and we are laying down with knuckleheads and gambling with our uterus, we're like, okay, and then you're surprised when you pick it up and you're pregnant by a knucklehead.
What are you doing with
who
the
is
uterus?
still living with his mama and bringing his babies from other women over to his mama's house because that's where he lives.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What are you doing with the uterus? I want that back. Roll that back.
Gambling.
Just throwing this big head,
Right?
ugly. No, this is true.
You
It is
know,
true.
so we have to take responsibility for what we're doing.
Right.
Like I said before, I'm not knocking what anybody's path, but you got to look at your path and be strong enough to take ownership of it and say that when you were in kindergarten, your dream was not to have 5 babies with 5 different baby daddies and none of them helping you take care of them. I just don't believe that's what you dreamed for yourself.
Yeah,
You
that's
have to
fair.
take responsibility for that. And if that is our situation, it's not fair to look to someone to be the resource.
And I think that is where the turn comes, because unlike um, like her sister Natasha, pretty much successful, has it going on, has her own business, she's making it happen herself. She doesn't need anybody to add to her, but she sure don't need nobody to take it or take away from her either.
Right.
So I think that's the balance. Even for the man, pretty much looking, striving for that woman that pretty much maybe has her resources and so forth.
Hmm.
You want to come together, as you mentioned, as a partner. But
Right.
going back to the whole passport boys, and you're right, they have grown up angry at it could be black mamas, it could be whatever. But I think this is my opinion, and this is for every man out there: get the help that you need. Because
Mm.
I didn't grow up in pretty much in the best environment. Lord knows I didn't. My mother, not educated, on welfare. She had three boys she had to raise. We protected her as much as possible. We did what we could for her. Had the worst streak with men. Married two, three times, and not to her fault that that pretty much she got divorced because they were just not his. She didn't have pretty much didn't choose right. And did she have the upbringing to even choose right? No. Her mother and her father, my granddad or my grandmother, they pretty much split. They had like I think 12 kids or something like that. And she was in the middle somewhere. My point
Mhm.
with it is that I took it upon myself not to be angry at my mother. She did the best that she could. She
Mhm.
wasn't mean. She didn't know how to raise us, in the best way. But I
Right.
had to get that help in the sense of like, no, I'm not going to blame her for all
Right.
black women or all Latino women or whatever. But I know I needed one. Yes, ma'am. Just one. Miss Janine,
One,
one.
is there one?
And I found her. Don't play.
Is there one?
I found her. And I say that because, a lot of people do take that on where they have this mindset where they have to go outside for the wrong reasons, for the wrong reasons. So yeah, I think even going back to the bros or whatever, um, it's a lot of hostility on why they're doing it.
Mhm.
They say, "Oh, we're doing it because we want to." Yeah, I hear that, but honestly, number one is the cost of living. The women are not as materialistic. They're materialistic. Don't get me wrong,
Okay.
but if I'm buying them Ike versus Nike, $10 versus $200.
Right. There's a little difference.
Right, baby, that's the same thing. Ike,
Yeah.
go ahead. It's not Louis Vuitton, but Uy. You
Ooey.
know, yeah. So
Ooh. Ooey V.
the
Ooey
Uy,
V.
Uy V. There you go.
Ooey V.
Yeah. They don't look for that type of stuff, top notch stuff, and
Right.
because in their country, they don't know.
Right.
Some in their country do not know. They don't understand that. And it's not that maybe they don't want it, but that's not as important to them.
Right.
Name brand stuff versus, hey, I need to eat tomorrow. So that's
Right.
why they
Right.
do it. You can say what they want to say, whatever.
Hmm.
A lot of them they go to the third world countries that a lot of women may not have the resources. And yes, listen,
Hmm.
and I'll say this particularly for Cubans, highly educated women, highly educated men, but they don't have the resources. So what we, deem like they're just getting DVDs, and I'm not being funny. They're
Hmm.
now just getting DVDs. They probably just got like Windows XP
Yeah.
so I say that facetiously, but my point is because it's a different type of environment. And
Right.
yes, they're groomed to pretty much be family oriented because they're closer. Most cultures outside the United States,
Right.
you'll see this more in the South. If
Hmm.
anything,
Yeah.
the families are much closer
Yeah.
in the South. So I'm not saying pretty much. I check it because why are you doing it?
Right.
If
Right.
it's for
And
logical reasons, that's one thing. And if you want a good wife, yes, they're out there, but they're here too.
oh, they're absolutely here.
Yeah,
So now my public service announcement is for the ladies. Ladies,
get your
what
pass.
we're dealing with
No.
is men going elsewhere, literally and figuratively, to find the one.
Yeah.
Or the one for now. You can be angry, you can be frustrated,
Yeah.
you can post about it, or you can cast a wider net
Really can.
and look at some other options.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you are waiting for a Black man who may never come along.
Yeah. Listen.
May never come. And that's a whole nother show, right or wrong.
Yeah.
But do you want to wait on a Black man who will never show up because he believes this, and that about the Black woman, and all she wants is resources and women over here make better wives? But whatever it is they believe, you can't change it.
No.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. That's pretty much the conclusion of it. Where
Cast a
what are you
wider
going to do
net.
about it? I think, in my opinion, you hear me preach this a lot, and you'll hear me say this a lot. Change your zip code. They're doing it, and maybe for the wrong reasons. Well, it's time to change your zip code. Listen.
Cast a wider net. Don't go to the same Ralph's.
No.
Don't go to the same Trader Joe's.
No.
If you drop your dry cleaning off, go to a different place.
Yeah.
You go to 24-hour fitness, go to a different location. Switch it up.
Sometimes you may have to go to a different church. I'm not being funny when I say it.
Please go to a different church. Please go.
Yeah. Listen.
Please go.
He may, ladies, this is my chocolate sisters. Listen, he may have a little cream in his coffee. Change the zip code. Yes, ma'am. Josh has said it. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Change the zip
You
code.
may be white chocolate mocha.
Yeah.
Latte.
Yeah. I mean, Miss say not in 1,000 years she would have thought she would pretty much marry somebody as fine as I am.
She didn't think she'd be married to.
Don't say it. Don't play with me. Because she's a blessed woman. Don't play with her. Don't get her in trouble. Don't get her in trouble. Don't get her in trouble. But I say that facetiously, but the point I'm making is that, me dating outside of quote unquote my culture, I personally, I never dated really a lot of Latino women. And I, crossbreeds with everybody.
Right.
I saw them all, and God bless them. For me, there's nothing like them. Nothing like the Black woman. Nothing like them. So I had to have one. I mentioned that earlier. One, Miss Janine. And I got her. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Love Works. My name is Ricardo Arce.
Gold star for you, Pastor Rick.
That's right. We tackled the topic tonight, the husband or the resources. I had the special guest with Miss Janine. She has been awesome, has been beautiful as far as coming on and dealing with all my antics and answering questions and giving us some head knowledge and some spiritual knowledge on what to do about your relationships. It's important. It's important. So, Ms. Janine, I want to say thank you again to all of you. It's an hour and a half now, so this is not bad.
Oh,
not bad. Had a good time.
Wow.
To all of you who joined us, thank you so much, Mr. Tachi. God bless you, and thank you so much for literally sharing your heart on the post. That's really, really kind of you. And we're going to be in contact with you, Miss Natasha. We're going to be in contact with you. You just gave me an idea. So
I think.
We're going to talk. We're going to talk.
I think she should.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
for
ma'am.
season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mr. Tasha, we're going to talk. So you joined me. Thank you. We appreciate you. We love you guys. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Ricardo Arce. This is Love Works. Please join me on soon. I'm going to say soon. I'm not. Look.
Join you on soon.
Soon. I'm going to say soon. And we're going to pretty much going to do this again. And we're going to have a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ricardo Arce. This is Miss Janine. And thank you again for joining us on Love Works. So we'll catch you soon. Bye, everybody.